welcome to lesson 5B, Superlative Cities. In this lesson, we are going to study about superlatives as a review, and this time using with ever plus the present perfect. In vocabulary, we are going to learn how to describe a town or a city. And in pronunciation, we're going to check on some word and sentence stress. Okay, let's get started. All right, so this first activity, it's a grammar one. Okay, we're going to practice some superlative with ever plus the present perfect. In letter A, we have this activity. Look at the photos of 5 US cities. What do you know about them? Have you been to any of them? So please take a look at these pictures and see if you know them. Okay, fantastic. All right, so now we are going to read the article and you are going to try to guess which city from A goes in each blank. Okay, so now pause the video, read, and check which of these cities that we saw is going with each of these definitions here. Fantastic. Let's now check your answers. So these are the answers. Great. Okay, now for this next activity, you will look at 1 through 5 in the survey in the previous activity, and you're going to think about your country or your continent. Which cities would you choose? So here, from these definitions here, which city has the best museums? Is the friendliest city? Has the most aggressive drivers? Has the best architecture? Is the cleanest city? Great. So now, after you do that, you can come to activity D. Look at the both superlative adjectives in the survey. How do you make the superlative of? Okay, so now you are going to consider the questions here. How can we make superlative of one-syllable adjectives? And a two-syllable adjectives that ends in Y? A three-syllable adjective. Good and bad. So pause the video and answer. All right, let's then check your answers and see if you got them right. Fantastic. Now we are moving on to page 134 in Grammar Bank, and we're going to learn more about them. So let's go. Starting with the examples, let's listen and then repeat the sentences we have here.
2.43. 1.
It's the dirtiest city in the U.S.
It's the most popular vacation destination in the world. 2.
It's the most beautiful city I've ever been to.
It's the best movie I've seen this year.
Great. Então, aqui no superlativo, nós usamos o superlativo quando nós estamos comparando, então, uma coisa ou uma espécie a um grupo da mesma espécie, né? Então, por exemplo, uma cidade contra três ou mais cidades, né? Então, aqui a diferença entre os comparatives é que nós estamos considerando, então, sempre três ou mais elementos de mesma espécie, ok? Então, para a gente fazer o superlativo, nós devemos usar, então, aqui sempre o artigo the, ele sempre vem aqui, né? Antes do adjetivo, então the. Então nós usamos o adjetivo e fazemos as devidas mudanças ortográficas que nós já aprendemos, né? Então, no geral, quando o adjetivo termina em Y, nós devemos tirar o Y, acrescentar IES, IEST, né? Ou, se não terminar em Y, simplesmente EST, né? E, juntamente, lógico, com o artigo the, tá? The dirtiest city, né? Por exemplo, aqui nós temos outros exemplos, né? Cold vai ficar the coldest, hot, the hottest, pretty, the prettiest, né? Aqui, ó, adjetivo terminando com Y, né? Y precedido por consoante, corta o Y, IST, né? E nós temos também os adjetivos longos, né? Mais de 2 sílabas, que, por exemplo, o beautiful. Nós, neste caso, usamos então o the most, né? The most beautiful. Os adjetivos irregulares, que têm as suas formas, né, diferentes, não seguem a regra geral. Nós temos good se tornando the best, bad, the worst, far, the farthest or the furthest, tá? Aqui então nós temos essas diferenças. Aqui no meio nós temos os comparative para você não confundir, tá? Comparative, quando nós usamos, então estamos comparando duas coisas, duas pessoas. E o superlative, 3 para mais, tá? Uma coisa com um grupo um grupo, né, de coisas de mesma espécie, tá? All right, now we also have here in 2 the most beautiful city I've ever been to. Então aqui, especialmente nós estamos trabalhando agora no present perfect, tá? Então é muito comum nós usarmos o superlativo juntamente com o present perfect e ever. It's the most beautiful city I've ever been to, né? Que eu já estive, a cidade mais bonita que eu já estive, que eu já fui, né? Então, this is the best movie I've ever seen. A gente pode usar um ever aqui também, né? I've seen ou I ever seen, tá? Então, é muito comum usarmos o superlativo juntamente com o present perfect. Okay, now you are going to page 135 and you will do some exercises in order to practice that. So in activity A, you will complete the sentences with the superlative. The adjectives, they are in parentheses, so you can use them. Example, is this, look, the adjective is big. City in the world. So, is this the biggest city in the world? So you will pause the video now and do exercises from 1 to 10. Okay? Fantastic. Please check your answers. Great. Now, let's go to next activity, letter B. Write sentences with a superlative plus ever and plus the present perfect. Like in this example, we have it, good movie I seen. It's the best movie I've ever seen. Pause the video and do it. Okay, let's check your answers. Excellent. If you have any questions, please reveal or ask me the questions you might have, okay? Moving back to page 38 now. Yeah, now we have a pronunciation practice, word and sentence stress. For this first part of the activity, you will underline the stress syllable and the bold adjectives. So the bold adjectives are these ones: beautiful, expensive, impatient. Okay, so underline them. Where, what is the stressed syllable in each of these adjectives? All right, you did it. Now let's listen so you can check your answers.
2.44. 1,
What's the most beautiful city you've ever been to?
2,
What's the most expensive thing you've ever bought?
3,
Who's the most impatient person you know?
4,
Who's the most generous person in your family?
5,
What's the most frightening movie you've ever seen?
6,
What's the most exciting sport you've ever played?
7,
What's the most interesting book you've read recently?
8,
What's the most romantic restaurant you've ever been to?
So listen again if necessary. Okay, so now checking your answers. These are the stressed syllables in these adjectives: beautiful, expensive, impatient, generous, frightening, exciting, interesting, romantic. Okay, now you will listen again, and this time you are going to pay attention to the rhythm of the sentence. Try to copy them. Listen and practice. Fantastic. Now, in C, you are going to answer questions, and you can answer these questions here on a sheet of paper, okay? So let's see. Check these questions here and answer them in your notebook. Okay, now let's start reading and speaking. Read the article. Answer the questions. So here, we are going to read this article, and you're going to check here what the three tests they are doing here. What are they? Okay, and then you're going to answer questions 2 and 3 also, so you can find out which will be the friendliest or the most unfriendly city of all. Okay, so let's read this article now so we can understand. Let's go. Pause the video and read it. Fantastic. So, if you understood it right, as we can see here, Tim Moore is a journalist. Okay, he went to these four cities: London, Rome, Paris, and New York City, to find out if it is true what they say about big cities being unfriendly. Okay, uh, they they were running three tests for each of them: the photo test, the shopping test, and the accident test. So let's read and see what happens. The result you can check out here in communication, the friendliest city. Now you will read the texts on pages 102, 107, and then 110. Let's then start with 102. On this page, you are going to see what happened in London. So please read. Okay, so how about this experience in London? Hmm. Now, let's go together to page 107 and see what happened in Paris. Great. Now, one more to go. Page 110. Let's check out what happened in Rome. Great. Surprised? Okay, we have one more to go. Now, listening. You will now listen to Timur talking about what happened in New York City. So, how well does New York City do in each test? Let's see. So, you will listen first, and afterwards, you can listen again and then check the answers here according to the listening, okay?
2.45.
First, I did the photo test. I asked an office worker who was eating his sandwich to take a photo of me. He was really friendly and said, "Of course I'll take your picture." When I asked him to take more photos, he said, "Sure, no problem." When he gave me my camera back, he said, "Have a nice day." Next, it was the shopping test. I went shopping near Times Square, and I bought an I Love New York t-shirt and some drinks from two different people. I gave them too much money, but they both gave me the exact change back. Finally, it was time for the accident test. For this test, I went to Central Park, and I fell down on the ground. I only had to wait about 30 seconds before a man came to help me. "Is this your camera?" he said. "I think it's broken."
Great. So listen again if necessary. If not, let's check your answers. So, letter A, we have these answers. And then letter B, these answers. Okay, so were you surprised? Okay, so now you will do activity C. Think about the nearest city, nearest big city to where you live. Imagine you used the three tasks there. What do you think would happen? Is it a friendly city? Great. Be prepared to present it in class. Okay. Now, in vocabulary, describing a town or a city. This activity here, you are going to think about how to ask these questions about where you live. Then we're going to compare with your friends in our online class, okay? So come on. Great. So now that you answered these questions here, let's move on to page 156, Vocabulary Bank, describing a town or a city. To start with, do you know the difference between a town or a city? Okay, so a town, it's what we usually call the small cities, okay? A town, usually a countryside town. City, it's usually a big one, big cities. So one, where is it? How big is it? You are going to take a look at this map now. Uh, then read a description of reading and circle the correct words or phrases. So this little text here is about this map from Pennsylvania, okay? You are going to read, and as you can see, we have always two options, east or west. So you will analyze the map and choose one of those words, okay? Pause the video and do it. Great. Let's then check your answers.
2.46. Where is it? How big is it? Reading is a city in the east of the state of Pennsylvania in the U.S. on the Schuylkill River. It is about 60 miles west of Philadelphia. It is a small city, and it has a population of about 88,000. It is famous for its discount outlet shopping malls, which were the first in the U.S.
Wonderful. Okay, so now take a pause, take a look at the text to check if you have any questions about vocabulary. All right, before you go to next step. Now we have activity two. What is it like? Adjectives to describe a town or a city. So to start with, we have here in letter A, match the adjectives in sentences 1 through 6. So we have here the words, and under them we have definition for them. For example, there are a lot of restaurants and clubs with loud music. So which of these adjectives could describe this kind of scene? So pause the video and do it. Great. So before we check our answers, let's go to B. Match these adjectives with their opposites in A. So now we are going to complete these column here. For example, the opposite of boring is exciting. Please continue. Great. Now we are going to listen to both A and B and then check your answers. Let's go.
2.47. What's it like? 5.
Boring.
Exciting. Interesting.
3.
Crowded.
Empty.
6.
Dangerous.
Safe.
4.
Modern.
Old.
1.
Noisy.
Quiet.
2.
Polluted.
Clean.
Great. Okay. Now let's go to letter D. Cover the words and look at the sentences. Remember the adjectives and their opposites. Okay, so now just consider these sentences here and try to get the opposites of each of these words without actually looking, okay? Great. In number 3, what is there to see? Put the words in the right column. Here we have a lot of different religious buildings, places where you can buy things, historic buildings, and monuments. So now we're going to sort out, okay, these buildings according to the type of building they are. Please pause the video and do it. Great. Now we are going to listen to them and check your answers.
2.48. What is there to see? Religious buildings.
Cathedral. Church. Mosque. Temple.
Places where you can buy things.
Department store. Market. Shopping mall.
Historic buildings and monuments.
Castle. Museum. Palace. Statue. Town hall.
All right. Very nice. Now, in letter C, which of the places in A are there or aren't there in your city? There's a cathedral, for example, there's a cathedral in some churches. There isn't a castle. So let's go. Pause the video and try to describe the places you can see or you can't in your city. Great. Going back to page 39, now we are going to do the writing activity. This is on page 114, describing where you live. Write a description of the place where you live. Let's go, page 114. This writing activity here, we are going to do, starting with letter A. Read a text and complete it with these words. So here we have a few words to be completed in the text. So pause the video and do it. All right, great. Now let's check your answers. This is the order that the words appear. They show in the text. Great. Now let's do letter B. Match the questions with paragraphs 1 through 5. For example, what it's famous for. So which paragraph can we find the answer for this question? What is it good for? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause the video and do all 5. Great. Let's then check your answers. Okay, great. Now, in letter C, write a description of the place where you live. Write 5 paragraphs and answer the questions in B in the right order. First, make notes on the questions in B. So now, you are going to check these questions here. Can you see the order that you numbered here according to this text here? You are going to answer the questions about your city using the same order. So first make notes about the answers to these questions, and afterwards you're going to write a full description of the place where you live, okay? When you finish, make sure to check your email for mistakes, grammar, punctuation, and spelling, okay? And you can send this text to me so I can check it out for you. All right? Great. Now, let's go back to page 39. And you will finish this activity here with a song activity. Nobody does it better. The song will be displayed for you here on the platform, okay? And you can also listen to it in the getting the link and the files here, okay? The extra links. Great. Now you are going to the workbook. Please do these exercises according to your needs and make sure to do the listening activity. I'm going to play the audio for you and then you can answer these questions.
File 5B, Listening.
Hello, and welcome to the travel program. Now, one of the most popular tourist destinations these days is the amazing country of Brazil. Sonia Medina from the Brazilian Tourist Board is here to tell us all about it. Sonia, what's so special about Brazil?
Oh, Brazil is a very large country, and there's just so much to see and do there. First of all, there are historic cities like Salvador, the first capital of Brazil, and Rio de Janeiro to visit.
Let's start with Salvador. What's there to see there?
Well, Salvador is in the eastern part of the country on the Atlantic Ocean. It's both an old city and a modern one at the same time. There are a lot of very tall office buildings and great shopping malls there. And the city has a lot of museums.
One of the most important is the Museo de Arte de Bahia.
What about Rio de Janeiro?
Rio de Janeiro is a little bigger than Salvador. The population is about 6 million. It's in the southern part of Brazil, also on the Atlantic Ocean. Rio de Janeiro has churches dating back to the 16th century, famous cultural landmarks, and world-class sports. In my opinion, Rio de Janeiro is one of the most exciting cities in the world.
Apart from the cities, what else would you recommend?
The beaches. There are wonderful beaches northeast of Rio de Janeiro, especially on the peninsula of Búzios, which has more than 20 of them. You can drive or take a bus there from Rio de Janeiro.
Is there anything to do in Búzios besides going to the beach?
Well, if you are a fan of water sports, you can sail a boat, surf, or windsurf. There are also a number of restaurants to enjoy, as well as interesting stores to explore.
So, when is the best time to visit Brazil, Sonia?
The main tourist areas are very crowded from December to March, so it's better to go between May and October when it isn't as busy and hotel prices are a little lower.
Thank you, Sonia. Brazil certainly sounds like a very exciting vacation destination. Now, let's look at a different type of vacation.
Great. Okay, so now finish the exercises and the answers you can also find here on the platform. There is a file just with the answers of all the workbook activities. Okay. Thank you. See you next class. Bye bye.